Greetings. Just thinking a bit about some current events. Wanted to share some of my thoughts with all you folks out there who look at current events through the eyes of deep history. Um, I don't really pay too much attention to the media all that much anymore, um, but every once in a while I catch something and I think about some of the things that I've studied about deep history and about the ancient mystery religions. And people that have revealed in the past what is going to happen in the future because they were insiders, along with the controllers, knowing what was going to happen in the future, and told us beforehand what was going to happen. And these people, these controllers, they practice the ancient mystery religions, and they hide all the symbols of these ancient mystery religions in plain sight for us to see them, and they call them different things. They have an exoteric meaning that we all know what they are for the profane for us. And then they have an esoteric meaning, which is the meaning that they understand what about these symbols, what these symbols communicate to them. And so I've just been thinking about what's going on in the Middle East right now with this group. I don't know if I'm the only person who finds it very curious that this group, which is taking the Middle East by storm, scooping up cities in Iraq, and basically controlling the region, or bringing the region under their control. ISIS, who we hear about every day in the news if you turn the radio on or TV on, which I don't really do that much, but it's hard to avoid. Even if you look at your Facebook page, you can see things about ISIS. So I've done a little thinking about this and done a little research and tapped into what I can remember from things I've read about when I've studied deep history, and I've found it very curious that they call this group ISIS. The acronym stands for Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. And if anybody out there has studied the ancient mystery religions, you know who ISIS is. ISIS was Osiris's sister, was an Egyptian god, and also Isis was Osiris's wife. And there's a whole legend of Isis and Osiris, and it's rooted in Egyptian mythology, and the mystery religions definitely refer to this, and there is an exoteric and an esoteric meaning to it, but I won't get into all that right now. But the basic storyline is that, this Osiris, um, who was the ruler of Egypt, he was, I guess, defeated by his enemy Set, and cut into 14 pieces and spread throughout Egypt. And Isis, Osiris's wife, went and gathered all his pieces of his body back together while she mourned, and she was able to find all the pieces to his body except for his phallus. And she then, because she couldn't find his phallus, she created a phallus out of clay or stone, I forget what it was exactly, and she proceeded to conceive a child with his dead body in this stone phallus. And the product of that union was Horus, who then goes on to become the deliverer of Egypt from Set's unrighteous reign. And so as I looked at this and I compared it to what we see happening in society today, and I've watched a 20-minute video from David Icke today, which somebody passed along to me. Not a big fan of him. Certainly, he's talking about in the video uh, Orwell and Huxley and Pike, and how these men have basically told us what is coming in the future, and how Pike talked about World War III, and a lot of the things he said are true, and a lot of other things he has said I think are just complete propaganda and distraction. But what he said in this interview with Luke Rudkowski seemed to be pretty spot on, and so it just got me to thinking about how Pike said, you know, there's going to be World War I, World War II, and then World War III. And World War III was going to be between the Zionists and the Muslims. And as you know, if you looked at deep history, the Knights Templar during the time of the Crusades was not only fighting the assassins, but they also ended up becoming very close with the assassins. Some of the Templars did, and they adopted some of their components of mystery religions and brought them back to Europe with them. And you know, basically it's, again, two different sides of the same coin. We have these secret societies in cahoots with one another and creating chaos, that they could come in and be the saviors of the situation and create a new order out of this chaos. And so as I was thinking of all this, I thought it was very interesting that now we have ISIS in Iraq, with this country which is divided into many pieces, and this region that is divided into many pieces now, different sects of Islam, and you have ISIS now conquering and going to bring all those pieces together again. And you have Osiris, of course, who is being brought together. All the pieces are being brought together, along with Osiris's stone phallus. If you know anything about obelisks, they are the phallus of Osiris. You see them everywhere. You see them in Washington, D.C., you see them in St. Peter's Basilica, in the Vatican, you see them in graveyards. Masons all the time have them. Headstones are obelisks, and you see a lot of them in Egypt. But you know, so you have Isis and Osiris, and you have the Hegelian dialectic, which David Icke talks about as well. And the Hegelian dialectic, of course, is you have thesis, antithesis, synthesis. So you have controlled opposition. You have, you know, your thesis, the norm. You introduce an antithesis, and you hopefully produce a desired result, a synthesis, a new, out of mixing these two things and having this chaotic interaction between them. You have synthesis. You have something new, and we saw it in World War I. The result was the League of Nations. Didn't work out so well. Came back again a little bit stronger in World War II, and the result of that was the United Nations. And now there's a World War III is on the way between the Muslim establishment, if you want to call it that, and the Zionist establishment. We'll say that, because I wouldn't want to call it Christian, because it's not really Christian. It's Zionist for sure, whether it's Christian Zionism or Jewish Zionism. And you have these forces clashing with one another, thesis and antithesis, and in the end you'll have a synthesis, which is a new order, a new government, a new world government, and what will be the result? I guess it will save Egypt from the unrighteous ruler it has now, Set. So you have Isis and Osiris, and the result is Horus, who will deliver the world from the unrighteous ruler Set. And I think they're following the myth and hiding these things in plain sight, and there's a narrative there, and there's a Hegelian dialectic going on, and a thesis and antithesis and a synthesis that will come out of all of this. I don't think it will be very pleasant, but that's where I think all this is going. Share your thoughts. Let me know what you think.